Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Elevating Your Life with Paula Vail. I am sharing with you today an amazing woman located in South Africa. It's just so fun to just chat from across the world. I love it. And we have with us today Bridget Finklaire. She is an author and spiritual teacher with almost 30 years of experience. She is a qualified and experienced psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, and healer, and was a professional therapist in London's Harley Street. And you have done so many things. You have just such a wide variety of what you do. But I am really excited to hear about your new book, Bridget. So I would like to ask you, though, is there anything else? Would you like to share more a bit about your history and kind of what brought you to being here and writing this new book you have coming out?
Gosh, yes, that would be lovely to kind of go back and think, well, where did it all begin? And I think some of us on this spiritual journey are not really sure where it began, to look back. But I think many of us probably had a little bit of wounding in childhood. And that was certainly so for me. And I love Rumi's quote, that the wound is where the light comes in. And I set off initially on a path of healing because I couldn't really understand why. I've had a feeling that I didn't fit in, with people, and that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't enough somehow, and everybody else had something that I didn't. And when it became, I kind of just blagged it for a while, that fake it till you make it, and that got me by. But it wasn't really scratching that itch inside, and I felt there was something I wanted to reach for. As a child, I grew up in London, not in London, actually just outside London in Hampshire in England. And I had there were 5 children and I had 4 brothers. I was the only girl. And everybody used to say, well, aren't you spoilt? Well, no, I wasn't spoilt. I was teased and humiliated and shamed quite a lot. There was quite a lot of emotional abuse, which at the time I just thought was a normal family. So when I had my children, which is almost 30 years ago now, and I had my daughter, I thought, I want to do things differently, and I want to have be the best mother I can be, and I want to be the best wife I can be, and really do this thing called life properly. And that led me to examining myself and going into therapy myself. And that led on this whole journey of curiosity. And at around that same time, I had a friend who was a Reiki master. I was doing some feng shui work. She wanted me to feng shui her house. I said, why don't we do it as a swap? So she was my Reiki master. I went right the way up to Reiki master. And it set something fascinating. And I felt I'm home. I know who I am. And I forgive my parents and my family and my background, and I love my kids, and now there's something more. And it kind of set in motion this whole journey of awakening, I guess, and raising your vibration and opening your consciousness, becoming more and more aware. And the more I went on that journey, the better I felt and the better my life got. And I just wanted to share that with people. I'm a great one for if I learn something, I can't wait to share that with somebody. And when I was training as a therapist, I trained in a lot of different techniques, and I would learn something, and there'd always be a friend or a family member like, can I practice this on you before I start working, with clients with it? So I'm a great one for sharing, and I love to show people the way, and I love to go, hey, I've got this great thing, let me share it with you. So that's really how the journey began. But it's been, nearly 30 odd years since I had my daughter. And so it's been a long, long journey, and there's been lots of different avenues. But for a long time, this is why I was saying my name is Bridget, and I do feel that I bridge things. And I had a sort of very much a kind of my psychotherapy path, and I've got to be normal. I've got to have people respect me. I can't tell them, that I'm spiritual and that I've got intuition and all of those things. And then I had this other path, which was this spiritual path, who was so thirsting for wisdom and knowledge and understanding, and wanted to know how to heal people, and was thirsting after therapy techniques that were way faster than the old-fashioned psychotherapy. I wanted to get quick results. I wanted to get my clients, see them happy and walk out the door. So I had these kind of parallel paths of the alternative path and the very sort of, what I don't know what you'd call it, conventional path. And eventually those paths came together, and I just keep going. I think the whole of life is a journey. The whole of life is about awakening, raising your vibration, being the best version of yourself you can, and enjoying it as well. Yeah. And so that's a little bit about me.
Oh, powerful message. That is so true. And I have to mention with the whole feng shui thing, I taught someone Reiki years ago who was expert in feng shui.
Oh, wow.
And so she, kind of helped me redo my office and this and that, feng shuied it, I called it. She actually lives in Sweden.
Oh,
and
wow.
She was here. And oh my gosh, it just changed the energy of the room. It was so fun. It is so great with Reiki to be able to add other modalities and have fun. It's all about learning and raising our vibration and growing and having fun too. That is so right on, Bridget.
Awesome. Lovely. And interesting what you said about the feng shui, because we're looking at it often from a technical perspective, but actually the thing that clients always notice is it feels better. Just yes. Feels better. Yeah. So interesting. I mean, I haven't done feng shui for ages, although I did feng shui my own house when I moved here. I built this house, and one of the things I said to the architect, I said, I'd love some sacred geometry in my house. And he went, that was part of my thesis. I couldn't believe it. I mean, how's guided to an architect who used sacred geometry in his thesis? So we have like a big circle in the middle of our house.
Yeah,
amazing.
We meet who we're meant to.
Absolutely.
I love it.
People come into our lives for a reason.
Yes. Oh, that is so true. Well, Bridget, tell us about this new book that you have that is available now for pre-order, that's coming out, I believe, August 1st. Tell us about this book and what triggered you to write it.
Thank you. Yeah, so Red Dress is the name of the book, and it's a novel. It's actually a novel, but it's what triggered me to write it was I wanted to be able to share some of these pearls of wisdom, because over that 30-year journey, and particularly working a lot with clients and working with people in so many different modalities, and having put my fingers in so many different pies on the spiritual journey and read lots of books and taught courses and been on courses, I wanted to share that with the world. Again, it goes back to this thing of wanting to share, let's all have a piece of this. And then I didn't want it to be a stodgy book that people felt they had to read. I wanted it to be something really fun and light-hearted and accessible. So I wanted to share these pearls of wisdom and show people what a spiritual bath can be like, and how that can open up for people, how much fun it can be, and to really demonstrate that in an engaging way, so that people could relate to the characters in the book and laugh with her and cry with her. And really, the central character is called Katie, and she's taking the journey for you, and she's brand newbie on this, so she's just dipping her toes into the waters of this spiritual journey, and she's being fast-tracked. So she's a bit sort of there's a bit of trepidation there, there's a bit of she's fighting with herself. Am I going mad? Is this real? She's I think a lot of people, when they begin their spiritual journey, ask the question, is this real? Am I making it up? What's it all about? What are other people going to think? There's that fear of not fitting in, of losing your friends, and she goes through all of that. So we can watch her and we can kind of laugh with her as well. So that's what made me to write it and inspired me to write it. I just wanted it to be a really lovely, enjoyable read. I read a lot of non-fiction books, and they're fabulous. There's brilliant books out there, absolutely brilliant books, but not everybody wants to read non-fiction all the time. And what I've noticed in my own life is the more I kept sort of learning and growing with fabulous books out there, I realised I wasn't reading anything for fun. I wasn't reading any fiction anymore. And then I was on holiday one year or something, and I thought, no, I'm not going to take, whatever the latest spiritual book was. I'll just take a novel. And it was so fun to just, be on vacation and read a novel. And so that was the idea, is to get something really fun for people to read, a real page turner, but pearls of wisdom if you want to take them.
Yes, and we can read, learn, grow, elevate, and have fun doing it. That is so true.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I hope that people do have fun reading Red Dress.
Oh, it's really fascinating and exciting concept to think about the fun you had. And what I'm thinking with what you said, we get to, through Katie, experience things. So if we're opening up to all these new changes and shifts in our lives, reading this book and seeing what she goes through, we're not alone. No, this is how it works, or this is normal, and I'm there for the ride, just like Katie. And have fun with that, because it is true that when you grow spiritually, vibrationally, however you want to call it, it does bring, like, okay, is this correct? Am I doing it the right way? Or am I going where I should go? We have questions. What are my friends going to think? And that is all so true.
Yeah.
But it is just amazing how, when we start to envelop the mindset of raising our vibration and listening to our intuition, all of that, it really is life-changing, isn't it, Bridget?
Absolutely, and that's what I hope to illustrate in Red Dress. At the beginning of the book, she's a stressed out career mum with 2 teenage kids, and her marriage isn't really working. She's very disconnected. The husband's very power hungry. He's not really on the same page as her. She's lost who she is, and she embarks on this journey. Now, she's a therapist, and she also sees a therapist, and there's a lot of wisdom that's coming in from different spaces, if you like, from, if you go even a conventional counselling path, or whether you go on a healing path, so all of these things are coming in which are helping her, and she surrenders, and right near the beginning of the book she surrenders, and in fact what she does, she's spiritual but she's not religious, so she's not sure about God. She believes that there's a divine source, but she's not really sure, and she sort of, I don't think I'm giving too much away by saying, so fairly early on in the book, in the middle of a meditation, she's so fed up and she suddenly thinks, I'll just hand my life over to God and see what happens, and she doesn't even really sure that she believes it, but this sets in motion a whole series of events, because that's now she's surrendered. She surrendered her life to a higher power, to source, and all sorts of things unfold. So I find that fascinating. Sorry, I've lost sight of what you actually asked me.
Yes.
Paula.
No, you're doing fantastic. And I just have to say, that is such an important message for you to put in the book, because, oh my gosh, I personally believe once we surrender and trust, things can open up in our lives that we had never even imagined. The door that can be opened with that surrender. But it does take some courage, and but it really can open some doors when we trust. And so what would you say are some of the key points for, opening up and wanting to raise to that higher vibration? Would you say it's intuition, positive mindset. What would you advise to the listeners?
I think everybody has their own path, and it depends on who you are and where you've come from and what suits you. And I don't think one size fits all, you know. So it's really, for me, sometimes it can be a happy event that triggers you onto some kind of path. Like for me, it was having my children. And sometimes it can be, a real big challenge in life, like an illness or a loss of something, grieving or something like that. What can seem a disaster can actually be an opportunity to turn your life around and see things in a different way. So I think it's different for everybody. But I think the core underlying thing of importance is consciousness. It's awareness. It's becoming aware that there's something more to life that you want, that you're thirsting for, that you're searching for, and choosing consciously to make some kind of change. And whether that's a surrendering, or whether that's raising your vibration, or whether that's learning to meditate or working with your intuition, the path will open up for you once you've made the decision. I think there's a real power in choosing and deciding and intending something, because that the universe applauds action. And the minute you go, do you know what? I think there's more to life than this, and I want to be the best self I can be, or I want to reach enlightenment, or I want to be healed, or I want to just be happy in my life, or whatever it is that you're choosing, the act of making that choice reorients your mind towards a vision of the future. And then your own intuition, if you like, or your own, what I would call your greater self, because we've got a small self and a greater self, and your own greater self and your own guidance and divinity and source will, and guides and all sorts of things that you may not even believe are there and you may not be able to see, will guide you. And so doors then open that were shut before, things open up for you, and all kinds of serendipitous events happen. And this is what happens in Red Dress. All kinds of serendipitous people walk into her life, and things come into her life at the right time. And that's you being open and choosing, and then the pathway reveals itself step by step.
Yes. Oh, yes. And you have mentioned that, we live in duality, and we have our greater self, we have our ego, our smaller self. Tell us a little bit about that and what role our ego plays and that type of thing.
It's a wonderful question. I think it takes people a while to really kind of understand this. It's one of those things, it's very simple. We've got a divine self or a greater self, and we've got a small self. And the way that I like to word it is, actually it's the other way around. We are our greater self and we have a small self. So it's actually that way round. And it doesn't mean we've got a split personality or it's completely a duality. What we need to do is get them working in harmony, because the small self or the ego self is really there to keep you safe. It keeps you safe. Now, unfortunately, it gets the wrong end of the stick sometimes. So growing up in the first 5 years of your life, we all become conditioned, and we become conditioned to fit in with our family and do what's expected of us. And that then conditions our way of life, who we are, the era we grew up in, the culture we grew up in, the country, the neighbours, the teacher, the siblings, the parents. All of those things have an influence on us. And that ego self is really here to keep us safe in this world. I think as well what it does is, if a lot of people want to put down the ego, but we couldn't exist without it, because we'd be pure spirit, we'd be pure creative spirit, which is who we really are, this luminous, pure creative spirit. But we have to have this earth suit, this body and this ego in order to operate within the world. So it's my little ego self that's here in this warm jacket, because it's cold in Cape Town right now. It's my little self that's talking to you, that's able to speak, that learnt English, and that's conditioned to all sorts of things that are actually quite useful. And it's my luminous self that's wanting to share the information. So the luminous creative beings that we are, our greater divine self, needs to express through the smaller self or the ego self. So rather than fighting the ego self, it is always about letting go of the things that are really limiting you within the ego self, healing those things, the traumas and the things from the past that make us feel too small to be of any use or be of any value, or that cause too much fear. We need to heal those things from the past so that we can be fully present, allow that greater true self, really, the deeper self, the true self, to come through and express fully through us to create the vision that we want to create for the future.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, and I have to share, I just love one of your favorite sayings is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That is such a great message, Bridget, because we do together opens up and creates so much more in our lives. And we do go so much farther, don't we?
Absolutely. It's actually an African proverb which I came across when I came to Africa, and it resonated with me so deeply, Paula, because I think that's where the world needs to head now. For me, we're in a gateway moment right now where we can choose to be part of a new evolution in consciousness, where we do things together, and it has to be about teamwork. We have to help and support each other. We need boundaries as well, but we need compassion and wisdom and love and truth. And are we going to be a part of that? And I think to be a part of that, we have to be a team player. It can't be me anymore. It's got to be we.
We can
So I really love that.
So much together. And that's what's so powerful about connecting and sharing each other and helping each other rise up. And, oh my gosh, it's just exciting what that little ripple we can create and then have it turn into a wave.
Absolutely. A big tsunami of love.
Yes.
That's what we're creating.
But today is Tsunami of Love Day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you're saying about that. Together we rise is one of the things that I've been working with, this notion that together we rise and it's time. And I feel one of the beautiful things about launching Red Dress has been the wonderful people I've been able to speak to, like yourself. And we realised that there's these points of light where I see us all as points of light across the globe, on this web of light that's holding a space for birthing something new. And that's so awesome, but we can only do it together. It's like a foundation of a house. You can't just have one brick on the foundation. You've got to have all the bricks to build that house. And we're all like the little bricks that are building this new way of being.
Oh, and isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting?
It's the most tremendously exciting thing.
Yes, yes. Well, tell everyone where they can get a copy of Red Dress.
You can get a copy of Red Dress on Amazon and from Barnes & Noble if you're in America. If you're in England, you can get it from Waterstones, and you can also get it from John Hunt Publishing, which is my publisher, on their website and anywhere that they sell books. It's launched on the 1st of August in the USA, 30th of July in the UK. You can also go to my website, and there are links there to Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And you can also sign up if you like. If you'd love to go to my website, I would love to have you sign up for my newsletter, where I'll be sending out information on book launch and possible readings, and probably going to be online given the situation we're in at the moment. But if you want more information and you want to know more about me, please do go to my website, which is www.bridgetfinklaire.com.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, well, with a few minutes left in the show, Bridget, what last words of wisdom do you want to leave with us today? You're just so inspiring. I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful that you've invited me on, Paula. It's absolutely wonderful. I think really it is that we have the opportunity to be part of the energy matrix, if you like, that creates a whole new way of being. And are you going to be part of it? There's a re-evolution in consciousness. It's a revelation and an evolution. It's happening. Get on board. wake up, become aware, grow in consciousness, and together we rise. And it's time for us to create a brand new way of being, which is based on wonderful values like love and compassion and respect and truth and wisdom. And that's, I think, what I would love to share with everyone that's listening is, wherever you start, it doesn't matter where or when you start living now the life you're meant to live, the life you came here to live, because it's immense fun. And this doesn't mean your life is perfect. There's always challenges, but you see them for what they are, opportunities to learn and grow.
Yes, yes. And isn't it wonderful, Bridget, how as we focus and take those steps in, the love, the compassion, raising those vibrations, coming together, oh my gosh, what is created and what comes back to us in return. I mean, what we give to the universe and the source, it comes back to us in volumes.
It does. I think one of the things for new people is to learn to receive it, because it's good. Some people can't receive it, and you just need to open and feel you are loved, you are love, you are worthy, and receive, because a lot of people do a lot of giving and we're not always so great at receiving, but it does come back to you. You're absolutely right. I totally agree with you there.
That is so true. It can be, so easy to give, but it can be difficult sometimes to receive and feel like, that can be for me too. But yeah, it just so much opens up. And gosh, when we work together and share that energy and the people we meet, and isn't it amazing how, like with your book, for example, how lives can be changed and affected, and you may never meet that person or know them, but your energy affects them and is a positive thing in their life. And that's something everyone can do with their words and actions, is affect others and make a difference together.
Absolutely, because we're all connected.
Yeah.
And there's a field of consciousness, and it's that, rising. So what we put out there is raising everybody, and it gives other people permission as well. And interesting what you were saying, we were both talking about receiving, and I think it's great to kind of give yourself permission to receive. And
I love it. I love it. Oh, all right. We're all going to receive today. Bridget, thank you so much. This has been so wonderful, and a heartfelt thank you for all the lives that you better and help. And I'm really honored to have you on the show. And I'm really grateful to my audience for joining us today. It's a blessing. Love, hugs, and blessings, everyone. Bridget, love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Love, hugs, and blessings to you and everybody listening. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here, and bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.